Hello there, this is Daniel West for Hero Arts. Let's create this fun Starry Night thank you card with some fun supplies from Hero Arts. The star of the show is the Star Cluster Stencil, and we'll pair it with a Your Magical bundle and the Celestial Fancy dies, along with some purple stuff, just for my friend Libby. Amethyst cardstock, grape juice ink. We'll use some hero paste in white and some fun hero tools. First, we'll just trim us down a panel of this fantastic purple cardstock. It's Amethyst. I'm going to make an A2 size panel for our background. And the background is actually going to be the star, the highlight, the most important part of today. So we're going to blend some grape juice ink along the edges of this amethyst panel with a blending brush, creating a vignette. So the center is going to glow. This is one of my favorite ways to use colored cardstock. And just really let this grape juice ink darken up in the edges and then lighten up as you get close to the center. And then we're going to get some intense black ink with another brush and darken up the edges really well so that it really pops. When I'm finished, it will look like the center is really glowing, and that's what we want. This contrast, adding this black along the edges, will help the stars really shine through that stencil when we add the white hero paste through it. As you go around, don't worry about this being perfectly blended. It looks kind of maybe just a little splotchy, not too bad, but it doesn't have to be perfectly blended. I just think it helps the look of this sky kind of look a little more cloudy this way. We're going to treat our stencil with some pixie spray. This is a low tack adhesive, great for stencils. And then just pop that right over our vignette panel. Grab a Hero Tools palette knife and some hero paste in white and just smear it right over our stencil, our treated stencil. And the fun of this is, of course, making a mess. And I'm going to give you a tip about how to clean this up. So when you finish smearing this over, make sure you get the lines out of the front. You don't want those showing up in your stenciling. But when you're ready to pick this up, you can do one of two things. Have a pan of water ready on the side if you're not wanting to clean up right away. Or I just take a crusty rag, one that I use for stencil cleaning, and wet it a bit with a spray, and then put my stencil right in the middle of it and gently rub back and forth with my stencil rag. This is a stencil cleaning rag, I call it. And I do the same with my palette knife until it's just clean. This paste comes right off with water. Look at this contrast. Look at that beautiful sky. It's just amazing. I love it, and I hope you do too. Now I'm just going to use the Celestial Fancy dies, and then one of the dies, the moon from the Your Magical set. I'm not even going to stamp it. I'm just taking the moon out because it was a little bigger than the one on the Celestial Fancy dies. And I'm going to die cut the cloud twice. It's got some details in it, which is really fun. Using my compact cutter. And there we have it. Just two clouds and a moon. I'm going to add some grape juice ink to the bottom of my cloud. And I'm thinking I really want this to contrast with the moon a little better. So I'm going to actually end up adding some more intense black ink. I'm not adding the ink from the pad, just what's already in my brushes. And now I have a really nice glowy cloud for the front and one for the back of the moon. But I didn't know where I was going to put this moon and cloud until I decided let's add a strip of amethyst and we'll put it down two-thirds of the way down from the top and just poking over a third of the way to the left. And there we have our rule of thirds obeyed, and we're happy. My eyeballs are happy. Now we'll bubble cut a sentiment. And this sentiment, I think my lucky stars comes from the Your Magical stamp set. And I'm just going to fussy cut this here. Just a tip on fussy cutting. Don't go this fast. I've sped it up a lot. But try not to move your scissors. Try to keep the cardstock moving. And then wave around each of the letters. It doesn't have to be precise. And one more tip. To flatten that sucker out, just run it through your compact cutter or another die cutting machine, and it'll flatten that out so you don't have the curled up edges on your fussy cut sentiment. So here we're going to create a card base with a bone folder and a score buddy, and I'm going to adhere the front of my, or the back of my panel to the front of my card base with some precision glue. Ooh, love it. I just love the result here. I sometimes even surprise myself. It was so good. I just loved it. Here I'm going to pop this strip right up on the front of my panel. And then just one after another, pop up my clouds. Then pop up my moon. And then we'll pop up my sentiments. But that's not it, you know. Before you press those down, just make sure you're right in the spot you want them to stay. This foam tape is rather forgiving, so if I wanted to pull it up again, I could. But once it's pressed down, it's a little harder to do. So just give it a little bit of time before you push it down and make sure it's in the right spot for you. Here, I actually had that foam tape stuck on the front of my moon, and then I had to pull it up and then cut my moon a little bit, but I'm all set now. It's turned out okay, I think. I thank my lucky stars for you, but how about a little champagne sequin mix here? Some gold sequins will be perfect for this. I think they look beautiful with the purple background. I place them out first and then I add my adhesive, and I really like to tuck my sequins in underneath each of my die cuts. And there you have it. I thank my lucky stars for you. I hope you enjoyed this little card tutorial, and all of the items I used are in the description box below. Here's a peek at the finished product. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me.